are moving now to the fireside chat, and we have online with us Regina. She is project coordinator at AI for Climate. Can we have Regina? Regina, there you are. How are you?
Hi, good, thank you. So happy to be here. The dancers were just awesome. I was fascinated.
Did you pick up any moves at all?
I'm sorry?
Did you pick up any moves at all?
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to dance like them, but yeah, I picked a few.
You picked a few. All right, no problem, no problem. I'll make the space available to you. Love your background, so please go right ahead.
Okay. Thank you so much for being here. This event has been awesome. I've been catching on some of the chats. I would like to share screen. I have a 10-minute presentation to tell you about a use case that I really love. So let me know when you can see my screen, please. Can you see it?
It's coming up.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, perfect. So yeah, I'm Regina. Really nice to meet you. I'm project coordinator at C-Minds. Especially, I coordinate the AI for Climate initiative. And today I'm going to talk to you about a project where we are harnessing AI systems for biodiversity protection. A project called Tech for Nature Mexico. We're implementing this project in the southeast of Mexico, the Yucatan Peninsula, which is where I'm from, is my homeland. So it's a project that, for several reasons, that I am really proud of. So without further ado, it's not moving. Oops. I don't know why my presentation is not changing, but while it works, let me tell you a bit more about C-Minds. C-Minds, we're a women-led innovation agency, Mexico-based, where we work in the intersection between society, climate, and new technologies. We study the impacts that these technologies may have on people. How can we mitigate it, and how can we use these technologies for good? So through our AI for Climate initiative, we explore, we leverage opportunities where we can harness these AI systems and advanced technologies for climate action and biodiversity protection. If you just give me a second, I can try to see what's happening with my presentation, because it's not responding. Or let me know if I can send it to someone so you can share it. Just 1 second.
Yes,
technical problems, the distance and Zoom.
Yes, you could try once more, and
okay, I think it's working now.
if it's still giving problem, Regina, what we can do is take our panel discussion and then jump back to you as well. That's also something we could try if the PowerPoint is not coming up. So let us know.
Okay, just give me one second.
Sure.
Sorry.
All right, folks, and while Regina gets her presentation up, again, registration, we have the thing for persons to scan, and we have another person that was randomly drawn. Regina, you can tell me when you're ready. This person is, and let's go to Venice's name. Venice. All right, here we go. Sangster Smith. Is Sangster still here? That wasn't your name. Oh, yeah. Oh, so they were calling you earlier. All right, so we're going past you then. Garrett Lake. All right, Garrett is in the back there. Venice, you want to do this honor for us? Make this nice award. Thanks so much for coming through, Garrett. And then again, please, give him a big round of applause. And make sure you scan the registration thing on the side. Stick up your hand, or volunteers. Oh, yes, please. Go right ahead. You can give him a nice back there. And Regina, I see you making some progress.
So can you see the screen now?
I can see the screen.
Oh, so sorry. Okay.
And is it moving?
Okay.
There we go. All right, over to you.
Okay. Oh my God, that was so weird. So thank you. Yeah, just catching up on what I was telling you. So through our AI for Climate initiative around Latin America, we leverage opportunities for climate action and biodiversity protection. So what do we want to do with these technologies, right? So one thing that we have to be really careful about when talking about technologies for climate is to not see technologies as a silver bullet that can solve all of our climate problems and issues, because they're huge, right? They're global, but since even though climate change and biodiversity loss are global problems, they have to be tackled from the local, likewise, because local contexts vary from a region to another. So it's really important to have this context in mind and take nature-based solutions to the table, also in talking about data-driven and technology-based solutions. So here I'm putting some few photos of two types of ecosystems, mangroves and jungles. These ecosystems provide several, a lot of services for people, like clean water, clean air. They provide risk reduction. Ecosystems, mangroves act as natural blocks for the impacts of hurricanes. So protecting these kind of ecosystems protects life, people as well. Like it has an impact on human health, on food security, on water security. So how can we protect them, restore them, manage them sustainably, and harness technologies at the same time, right? So first, opportunity, right? Again, technology is not a silver bullet, and there has to be a need that we can address with technologies, not just think of tech solutionism, but what can we do? So here you're seeing a video of a state reserve here in Yucatan called the Silam State Reserve. Here you can see a cenote, which is a sweet water body that's, in this case, within the jungle, and it creates a mangrove ecosystem all around it. This reserve has nearly 60,000 hectares of mangrove and forest and rainforest, and local people from the community. Here you can see I'm pointing, this is Don Juan. Juan is a former hunter and now an advocate for natural reserves, for conservation of natural resources. They started spotting jaguar tracks, right? So jaguars is a species that had been described, the presence of this species in the region, but hadn't been spotted in several years. Natural reserves in Mexico, they're really interesting because, well, in Latin America in general, people live inside and within the reserves, and the best conserved sites are where local and indigenous communities live and manage the resources. So they know when something's changing, when a new species is being seen, when species are disappearing. So they started seeing, the report said big weird dogs, and the local community said these are jaguars, right? So with the local government, the government of Yucatan, and this amazing set of allies, we saw the opportunity. So there's jaguars returning to this area. This means that the area must be healthy, or maybe other areas are unhealthy, and this is the only left sanctuary that we can start strengthening the protection, because the jaguars are returning. So jaguars are at the top of the food chain in ecosystems. This means that if you protect jaguars, you protect everything that's beneath, deers, and then the plants, and then the forest in general. So Tech for Nature Mexico was born with this idea to harness these community-centered approaches, meaning the community knows where they are, what they're doing, where the jaguars are. Machine learning, I'm going to tell you a bit more about why machine learning. Multi-sector collaborations to monitor and protect these species. Technology and community. This is the base, the core, the heart of Tech for Nature Mexico, right? So here you can see, this is Benjamin, this is Don Juan, this is myself. They are fully trained, capacitated, and they know exactly how to deploy devices. These are camera traps, which get activated when they detect movement. These are audio modes that record sound. So once you combine video, images, and sound to record, to tape an ecosystem, you know exactly what's going on, right? So maybe with the camera, we take a picture of a deer, but the audio mode will tell us that after that deer or before that deer was there, a bird was singing, or another species was doing something, and maybe the deer was following that sound or something similar, right? So we can have an holistic and ecological knowledge of what's going on in the area and what's going on throughout the seasons, because it's not the same that's happening when hurricanes are impacting the area and flooding starts, or when the dry season hits the area. So together with these two devices, the local community are our heroes and experts, and the one that knows where to deploy, when to deploy, what's the best time to collect. I mean, we have our schedule, but they are our leaders in the field, to be honest. And they are becoming more familiar on what data can they harness, and what purpose can they give to the data that's being collected by these devices. So inclusion by design. This project, Tech for Nature Mexico, that's led by Sea Minds, it has the community all over within the whole life cycle of the project. Here you can see Don Juan and Benjamin. It's a time where they weren't on their own to collect data, and they are with water all the way to their knees. So without them, we wouldn't even be where we are collecting data. These cameras and these audio modes, they are offline in some regions, and we're piloting an online system in a site where there's connectivity, so we can know real time what's going on there. We started this wildlife monitoring with these devices. These are passive monitoring devices, which means that I don't know if maybe you've seen Nat Geo photographers that have to be like 12 hours hidden between plants, and that presence of people disturbs the animal, because we smell, because we talk, because we do things that are not natural to the area. So leaving these devices there allows us to see things that we wouldn't be able to see if we were there. So here you can see a video. This is a great video. The jaguars, peccaries, jaguarundis. So these species, they are all indicating that the ecosystem is healthy. And that this kind of monitoring actually is working, because we're together with the local community. We're finding places where animals are feeding, are breeding. Breeding, for example, here we have a baby peccary. This is something that's really rare to see and really special to see. But since, as you can see, movement. So you can imagine that after 1 month, after 2 months, 3 months, we have tons and tons and tons of data. We've been doing this monitoring for almost 6 months, and we have over 30,000 images, plus like 17,000 videos, and get this, 246,058 recordings. Imagine the human capability, the human time and effort that takes to go through all these data and really find something, because you get tired at some point of listening, of seeing. So this is where collaboration and technologies and AI systems come to the picture. So this is an international community. We have private sector, Huawei. We have the civil society, Sea Minds, the local government, the IUCN through the Tech for Nature Global Alliance, the academic sector, the Polytechnic University of Yucatan. They are experts in data engineering analysis and rainforest connection. So, algorithms. We are developing algorithms that can, we have several phases. An algorithm can detect when a jaguar is spotted. An algorithm can identify the individual of a jaguar, because their patterns are not the same within every jaguar has its own pattern. So we can know if the same jaguar it's returning to the same area, or if we never see it again. We've spotted 2 cubs, and now we've seen them in another site, and we've recognized them through their patterns. And there's also algorithms being developed to identify species from the sound. This is a bird that update to the natural area management actions, because now we know that these species are here, that they are feeding, that they are breathing, that they are walking, that they're changing, that they are develop an algorithm to analyze real-time, near real-time data that's from our pilots. So we're having a lot of fun with the students as well, promoting science and education of the responsible use of these technologies for climate action and biodiversity protection. So this is my fire chat. Thank you so much. As a conclusion, from Siemens, we always say that technology is used responsibly and with the people all over the design and the life cycle of the project can yield to good results and an impact for good in climate and in society. So thank you. Hope you enjoyed. Here's my email, my 2 emails, and you can scan this QR code to learn more about the impacts of the project, the people, and see more photos and videos like the ones you saw here. So
Definitely. Thank you so much, Regina. That was really wonderful. Please put your hands together. Lots of work being done in this area, and I'm sure there are some points from what you just presented that we can learn off here.
Absolutely.
And it sets up nicely, Nakita, I think, for this all-female panel that we're jumping into now. So
aren't they beautiful?
I'll turn over to you.
They're already on stage, so welcome them, please. Thanks again, Regina, and continue doing great work for Tech for Nature. Thank you. So on stage, we have our moderator. She's the lovely lady in the middle. Is that beige? Is that, it's peach? I said beige. That's not a color right now. All right, so our moderator is Eleanor Terrelong, a 2018 Prime Minister Youth Awardee for Environmental Protection. Eleanor Terrelong is dedicated to the environmental advocacy and action through youth involvement in climate change. Currently pursuing a PhD in molecular biology at the UWI-Mona, she has actively been involved in volunteerism for most of her adult life. Should I just reach adult? All right. Eleanor is the founder and director of the Jamaica Climate Change Youth Council, formed in 2017. She is a youth volunteer group which is a youth volunteer group raising awareness about climate change among young Jamaicans. She, along with a committed team, volunteers her time to spearhead climate change initiatives. So, welcome our moderator. Thank you so much, Eleanor, for agreeing to do this. And now she has 3 other beautiful ladies who have joined her, where she'll question them, right? And ask them what's going on in Jamaica and climate action. We're hearing everybody talking about this is an era we need to be interested in because we are the future or we are the present and we need an earth to live on, right? So let's hear from them. Miss Elizabeth Goodleigh, you can just wave your hand a little there. Yeah. All right. She is the Environmental Education Officer at the Grace Kennedy Foundation, where she coordinates their work on the KEM project, that's the Kingston Harbor Ecosystem Adaptation Measures. Who knows where the Kingston Harbor is? Look like everybody come from country. You know where waterfront there? All right, so that's at the Kingston Harbor, right? So they're doing real great work there. We're going to hear a lot more about that. She also coordinates the environmental activities the foundation pursues to educate GK staff about environmental issues and topics. With a background in material science and a passion for climate change, Elizabeth has fostered a career in advocating for sustainability in all arenas. Make her welcome. Shauna-Gaye Pusey. Hey there. Shauna-Gaye Pusey is the Chief of Staff for Kee Farms. Note that name, Kee Farms. I'm off key, but the name of the farms is Kee. Her background is in the natural sciences, business management, and digital marketing and digital marketing, which enables her to problem solve key issues that allow her team to excel. Her interests are in farming, marine environmentalism, and ecotourism. Please make her welcome. Then we have, last but definitely not least, Miss Gabriel Mcleod. Gabriel Mcleod is a science enthusiast who is passionate about sustainable development and its ability to alleviate the many areas of dependency around the world. This drive led her to complete a Bachelor of Science in Energy Systems and Environment at the UMONA. From there, she entered her career as PV system designer at Solar Buzz Jamaica, where she designed and installed PV systems, because the word is here and I'm not saying it, for both domestic and commercial clients across Jamaica. She also went on to the education sector to formally teach physics at the high school and college levels at the Cedar Grove Academy, and subsequently assumed the role of Technical Information Officer at the Scientific Research Council. Ms. Mcleod has now gone on to become a recipient of the prestigious Marcus Garvey Graduate Scholarship in order to further pursue her studies in the Master of Science in Sustainable Energy and Climate Change program at UTech. Gabriel, also an active member of the Rotaract Club. It's not Kiwani's. Gabriel is also an active member of the Rotaract Club of Kingston, Jamaica, where she engages in the development of underprivileged youth, environmental sustainability projects, and the fight against the eradication of polio disease worldwide. So make her welcome. Please go ahead. Over to you, Eleanor.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our panel on climate action. Specifically, we're going to be talking about technology and technological solutions associated with climate action, and I'm just going to jump right into it. So I'm going to ask each of my panelists, just tell us a little bit about yourself and the work that you do in the area of climate action. All right, let me start to my right with Gabriel.
That tends to happen, eh? Everybody looks and it doesn't work, and then somebody else comes in. All right. Okay, so good evening again, everyone. I had a very lovely introduction. My name is Gabriel Mcleod. It's not Gabriel, but that's okay. I get it all the time. So, as was read in my bio, I'm a sustainability development specialist, and I'm quite the enthusiast when it comes to sustainable development. And currently, my research entails reducing emissions through forest degradation and, of course, deforestation. So what that entails is basically developing a metric whereby we can measure how much we are reducing the levels of carbon dioxide that enter into the atmosphere. And so I'm developing a methodology that can help us in Jamaica to become a part of that RED Plus program.
All right, thank you, Gabriel. All right, Elizabeth.
Hello. Okay, good. Hi, I'm Elizabeth Goodleigh, and as was read in my bio, I'm basically the coordinator for the KEEM project for the Grace Kennedy Foundation. And the KEEM project essentially is aiming to rehabilitate mangroves in the Kingston Harbor, but part of the reason the mangroves are degrading is the solid waste that enters our harbor from our gully systems. So the foundation's role is actually in outreach and education, where we're going into inner city communities and teaching them about the mangroves, climate change, why the mangroves are important to them specifically, and then trying to spark behavioral change in that way.
All right, thank you, Elizabeth. And Shauna-Gaye.
Hi, everyone. I am Shauna-Gaye, Chief of Staff and Chief Problem Solver at Kee Farms. That's my partner in the crowd. Also the co-founder of Kee Farms. We are a regenerative ocean farm who are focusing on growing seaweed, oysters, sea cucumbers, and mussels. We are partnering with the AHF at the moment for a pilot program, but we are geared towards creating a network for the community of fisherfolk to show them an alternate means to earning income, because as we all know, our waters are notoriously overfished. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Shauna-Gaye, and thank you all, ladies. All right, so let us dive into the meat of the matter. And Elizabeth, I'm going to turn back to you. What do you think the top priorities should be for the climate agenda in Jamaica?
Okay, I think our top priorities, 3 things come to mind. Climate action, which is basically taking steps to reduce the core issues that is causing climate change, which is our emissions, etc. But also climate mitigation. We're an island. climate change is going to affect us disproportionately compared to other countries. So we need to also be focusing on policies that are strengthening us, because there's some effects of climate change that scientists have said we're going to experience regardless if we stop emissions tomorrow. So I think we need to be focusing on climate mitigation as well as climate action. And then finally, sustainable development. Climate change, even though it's a threat, is also an opportunity. And I think Jamaica, as a country that isn't quite set in its ways yet, we haven't become developed, can see this as an opportunity to grow into a developed country, because we don't have the same bad habits that the other countries have already developed. So I think those are the three main things Jamaica should have on our agenda.
All right, thank you, Elizabeth. Gabriel, top priorities?
All right, just to follow up on what was said just now, so mitigation is something that, when we speak about climate change, we think about climate adaptation and climate mitigation. Mitigation more so speaks to things that will happen in the future, right? But adaptation seeks to address things that are currently happening. So yes, mitigation is good, and of course it is encouraged because we want to ensure that we have a sustainable future for those that come after us. But what about the things that are happening now? So if we think about adaptation, we have to think about things like fishermen. When fishermen go out to sea, or when a farmer plants his crops, he wants to know that there are things that are put in place that can save his crops now. What we're having currently is a food shortage. And so if I tell him that I can implement something that's going to be, you're seeing the results in 5 to 7 years, yes, that's good, but what are we doing now to help to prevent that? And so I think adaptation is one of the things that we probably need to put some more focus on and help to develop those strategies to help to what's happening currently.
All right, so I'm going to put you guys on the spot a little bit, right? So we're talking mitigation and adaptation, right? Now, there is an argument that globally, Jamaica is one of the smallest producers or smallest contributors to climate change. So when we talk about mitigation, some persons say, Jamaica, we know for business about mitigation. That is not our problem. Our problem is adaptation, because we're the ones feeling the effects. How do you feel about that? Do you think that one is more important than the other, or you think we all have a responsibility?
So it's not that one is necessarily more important than the other, but you have to basically align yourself with whatever it is that you're contributing to at the present moment. So if our emissions, if we, scale it or factor it as according to the larger countries, we're minute in comparison. And so if we have to focus on adaptation to be a part of the big contribution worldwide, then that's where our focus should lie.
Also, I think there is very fringely an opportunity within that, because if we can get our emissions down and then even become a carbon sink, there's opportunity economically for Jamaica, because persons are always willing to buy carbon credits to offset them. So economically, it could also be a benefit to us.
Yeah.
All right, I love that, because we're always looking at, the economic ramifications of climate change and how we can leverage that opportunity for economic growth. Shauna-Gaye?
So Elizabeth just mentioned carbon credits, and a part of our business model at Kee Farms is to actually grow seaweed and use it as a form of carbon sequestration, along with its byproducts such as biochar and agar to sequester the carbon and then sell it for carbon credits. That's actually something that we're actively working on right now. We understand that, to name the figure that no one has said, Jamaica only contributes 0.03% to the carbon footprint in the world. What we need to do, aside from adaptation, aside from mitigation, we still need to educate our masses. I don't think either of the two are more important. I think all need to happen. We need to educate the locals. We need to let them understand why it's important to mitigate against it, but why we still need to adapt to it. And we are the first that will actually experience climate change in this way, and the last set of people that can do anything about it.
All right, thank you. All right, so since we're still on the education point, being in the climate space myself, I recognize that is a gap that we have, educating people and kind of how do we get people to actually care about climate change? So my educator over here, what more can we do, or what more should we be doing to educate the general public about the effects of climate change?
All right, so there is a general disconnect between the general populace and the understanding of climate action and climate change. And so whilst we have the scientists that are pushing the agenda and they understand the fancy terms, we've been using sequestration, adaptation, and mitigation, but we have to ensure that the language is digestible to the general public. So if I come here and I say, okay, you know, you can't be doing that because we have to contribute to sequestration, and the farmer looks at you and says, okay, I'm going to continue my business as usual, we have to make sure that the mindset is changed in such a way that we're not only understanding the implications that it can have on the environment, but we're making it a part of our active agenda to be a part of that change that's happening.
All right, Elizabeth?
Okay, so as you can imagine, I've been trying to educate inner city kids
Right.
about climate change. A lot of the times because I always ask upfront, do you know what mangroves are? Do you know what climate change is? I usually get like blank faces. So what I have done is I've tried to link it to real world scenarios that they can understand. Right. So I point out examples like the road washing away up Gordon Town, because I'm like, well, that was because we had some parishes received their year's worth of rain in that 2-month period. And that was because of climate change. And that sparked something in them, because then they can say, oh, I'm actually seeing this thing that you are talking about that's actually happening. So I think linking it to real world examples. Also, trying to connect why they should care to their own interests. I find that is always the best way to go with education. So when you're educating them, trying to make them understand that these things are happening, and if you take these actions, you can help contribute to preventing them from happening to your communities, coastal communities, to your families. So my whole, I guess, theme for all my presentations is superheroes. So it resonates with the kids. It kind of resonates with the teenagers too, because I make it less cartoony. And then for the adults, they also feel like they are making a difference. So yeah.
That was a fantastic answer, by the way. Does have a few of the points I would have said. So aside from being the chief problem solver and all of that, my day job is actually as a copywriter. And I'm not sure if everyone here understands what copywriting is, but I basically write internet words. I write blogs, I write Twitter posts, I write social media posts, the whole shebang. And a big part of that is bringing the language down to their level. When I'm writing, I have to write high-level topics at an 8th grade level to make sure that everybody can understand it, because apparently the average reader reads at an 8th grade level. So I believe that when it comes down to education, we have to bring it down to their level. When we're speaking to the fisher folk, we can't say, you need to sequester the carbon, as Gabriel said. We need to say, listen, here's why your fish stock is disappearing. Here's why you're not seeing the food that them normally bite. So now here's what you can do as instead. A big part of what we are going to do at Kee Farms is to actually teach them how to farm seaweed, because seaweed actually encourages the flora and the fauna, or let me say the fish and the seagrass and everything else to come back. Sorry, very nervous, but it encourages regeneration. So we have to meet them at their level. We can't just say, guys, stop dirty up the place, because they're not going to understand the why of it. And then we have very, very powerful tools. Since we're talking about technology in climate action, it's in the palm of our hands. TikTok ads, make it bite-sized information. Social media ads on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, all of them. They are going to receive the message. I also have a background in psychology, and what you can do with these little bite-sized ads that come up on mass media is to prime them to continuously think about things like that. So it's at the forefront, it's also in their subconscious. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Shauna-Gaye. And you jumped on my next question, so we'll just segue into that. How can we use technology to engage citizens with climate action? Elizabeth?
Okay, so I think it can, in terms of technology, the role, it can make persons care more, and it can also make it easier for persons to act once they care. So the world is becoming kind of smaller. You can see the effects of the war in Ukraine on a teenager, a regular teenager on TikTok. As climate change progresses, these visuals of persons in seaside communities getting flooded out, all of these are going to start flooding our social media. And that's going to make more people care. And flip side, no, once you care, how easy is it to act on it? Or is there technology that, oh, no, I can come off the grid and go and get solar panels? That's one way. Solar panels, the price of solar panels, because of the advancement of technology, has become cheaper now. So now it's a feasible option for me. So I think those are the two ways that technology can help in climate action.
All right, Gabriel?
All right, so when we think in terms of technology, I think about the big technology and I think about the smaller ones, right? So if I was to speak on big technology that's being implemented now and how we can go about thinking about the different strategies, we realize there's a move towards electric vehicles currently, right? But how do we think about what do we do with the diesel-powered vehicles afterwards or the petroleum-powered vehicles? So in our move to try to get to climate mitigation, we have to understand what it is that we're doing with the technology that's available to us now. Do we just throw it away? We can't do that. Then we're basically being counterproductive. If we're going to throw away those vehicles, we automatically contribute to the garbage that's building up, and then we're back in the cycle of climate change. So when we think about the move from present-day technology to newer technology, we have to have the understanding and the thinking of what will we do with what is present now.
All right, thank you. So we've been talking about sustainability. We've been talking about language. So my next question is, how would you define sustainability and how do we build a sustainable future for our communities?
That's me, okay. I saw her looking at me, so I just assumed that it was my question. All right, so in building sustainable communities for the future, I think of three things. The first, of course, is education. So we have to educate the general populace as to why is sustainability important. It's not just today that we have to think about. We have to think about 5 years from now. What will this technology look like? How will it benefit me? The food storage or the food shortage that is happening now, how can we address those issues that are happening now? And so from the technology that's available to us, we can incorporate green buildings that are using energy in a passive way. Instead of us turning on all the lights in the building, maybe we're using natural lighting. So the architecture that is currently available to us, we can think there. So the technology in that aspect can be changed. And in addition to that, of course, educating the general populace on why it's important and where we should be going.
All right, thank you. Sustainability, definition, and how can we increase it in our communities?
So definition, sustainability. Sustainability is basically managing the resources that we use now so we're not negatively impacting our future. So it's planning for the now while always keeping in mind the future and not negatively impacting that future. What we can do to build sustainable communities, I think of the 5 P's of sustainable development. So when we're making decisions, even on a personal level at home, think about how it will affect people, planet, prosperity, what partnerships you might need to bring it into fruition. And I think once we get into this mindset of sustainability, that it kind of permeates every arena as we go forward into the future. So when you're planning, always plan with a sustainable mindset.
All right, Shauna-Gaye?
All right. So my definition of sustainability is, as you said, to use the resources that we have now, but to also account for long-term use of these resources. When it comes on to how we build a sustainable society, I'm going to keep referring to Kee Farms. This is not a shameless plug, but it's just an example. Through initiatives like Kee Farms, a big part of what we focus on is the why. It's the why fisher folk are still overfishing the waters. A lot of the times when climate activists come out, they focus on what is being done and they want to bash them and they want to be harsh about it. Right now, people are throwing cans of soup at paintings abroad, and I don't think that helps anything. We have to understand the why. And then we provide them with a solution that's more sustainable. With Kee Farms, we're going to provide them, after we've perfected the model, we're going to provide communities of fisher folk with the alternative. We'll give them the tools, we'll be teaching, we're going to be training them how to actually grow the seaweed, the oysters, the sea cucumbers, because we're going to give them an alternative to overfishing what is already a depleted fish stock, because we understand why they're doing it. And then we're going to show them the sales channels that they can also get these sold through, because they still have to eat. They can't eat the stock. They still have things to purchase. So a lot of what we're doing is to also provide a market for them. We're trying to help them holistically. We're not just going to hand something to them and say, go on, basically.
All right, thank you. And you're allowed to plug, so it's fine. All right, so next steps. So I see some young people in here looking very interested. I don't know if anyone's hearing about climate change or climate action for the first time, or maybe are just getting an opportunity. So what can young people do, or where can they begin their journey to get more involved and to support climate action?
All right, so in terms of young persons' involvement, we have a whole lot of channels that, in recent day, we have been more focused in terms of climate change, and you're hearing the term more often than it was heard before. So because we're recognizing the importance of what it is, there are a lot of channels that young persons can go through. So we have programs like the Youth Leaders of the Americas, that you can join that program. We have the DIA, they have the different workshops that they put on in order for you to become involved in climate change and climate action, and not just, educating yourselves in general, but being a part of the different programs. I'm a part of the Rotaract Club, that we have the different sustainability actions and the projects that we put together, so you can make yourself involved in the different community actions that are available to you and the different avenues that are available.
All right, Elizabeth or Shauna?
Okay. Thank you. All right, so for me, when I was in high school, nobody told me about climate action initiatives. I left high school 10 years ago. I actually have a reunion this weekend. Gonna show them that I didn't age. But still, what I realized is that we don't know about the initiatives as the wider population. We need to educate them about the initiatives. I didn't learn about waving waters until I started working with Kee Farms. I didn't learn about the CCIC until I started working with Kee Farms. My partner said, hey, we're going to do a pitch competition with DIA. I had no idea who they were. And I'm actually passionate about climate action. It's very important to also showcase these initiatives that they can get involved with at an early stage from the grassroots level. Because these are people that I know partner with and I know about them. But what about the rest of people out there? People driving around New Kingston have no idea what's going on in here right now. They may never garner this information unless we ensure it's actually available outside of this air-conditioned lecture theater.
So I totally agree. I think we have to take the conversation out of the realm of what I call specialists. So we're the persons, we're basically preaching to the converted. We already know, we already care. Is getting everybody else exposed to it, that's kind of the issue. So for youth, I would suggest tap into, as you said, your community group. I think that's a good first step. So there's the Jamaica Climate Change Youth Council that you can join. And because you tap into these groups, they're the ones who probably have their finger on the pulse of what's happening in the climate action arena. And they're probably going to be your first, I would call it, gateway into what's happening in the arena, what the different organizations are, and how you can get involved. Again, Rotaract is another good community youth organization that you can tap into that also probably has their finger on the pulse of what's happening in the arena. And that's basically how it happens. It's like a network. You tap into one, then eventually you start discovering this whole world that was existing that you did not know about.
Right, and just to piggyback on what was just said, I would say that it was closer to the start of this year that I actually became actively involved in all the different channels for climate change. So as she said, you start with one and then one starts to link you to another one, and then before you know it, you're sitting inside this room doing DIA Summit. So it is how you get yourself involved and the networks that you build that you have to try and make sure that you're involved in the different aspects of climate change. And another thing I wanted to add is you by yourself, you can't do it alone. So you have to make sure that you join a network that together you make a bigger impact. So you just find the networks, make sure that you're contributing in a way that you would love to contribute, and then you'll find your way from there.
I just like to add two things. So two other things you can do is advocate in your living room. So taking, as my earlier points about taking it outside the realm of specialists, just spark a conversation about it amongst your friends. That in of itself is one way that you can make a difference. Also, taking the information that you gain and actually applying it to your everyday life. If people see you as an example, people come to my house and they see me separating my glasses from my plastics, from my compost, and it inspires them. And it's not because I was preaching on a pulpit. It was just because I'm living my life in alignment with the values that I believe in. And because of that, I also have made an impact on that one person or those two persons. So yes.
All right, thank you, ladies. So at this time, we're going to turn over to the audience. If there are any questions for our panelists from the audience, please come forward. There's a microphone here at the front.
Hi. Hi. Good morning. Good afternoon, everyone. So hearing about climate change from you all was very exciting as a avid climate change enthusiast from a very young age. It's nice to hear other persons interested in it apart from me. It felt very lonely, advocating for this thing. So on that topic, when you started, you mentioned carbon capture as well as larger organizations purchasing the credits, right? In an effort to connect the smaller individuals to those opportunities, how do you feel about having a network of regular individuals like me and you composting at home, growing seagrass for the fishermen? That network, the impact that network creates, because individually it doesn't amount to much for the larger organizations to care about it. But if the efforts that everybody was doing was recorded and then can then be presented as a way to sell it, can that be a way to bridge that gap between those large organizations and the everyday individuals, as well as providing a source of income and showing the importance of doing these habits in your day-to-day life? What do you feel about that?
Once again, this is not a shameless plug, but I need to say that because I'm going to speak about them a lot, guys. I'm sorry. But when it comes on to Kee Farms, we are planning to scale to the point of sequestering 1.4 million metric tons of carbon, and that's yearly. If we can engage an entire community of fisher folk to farm seaweed, to do the same things, encourage the rest of the island to compost. It's as simple as having a bucket in your backyard that you dug a hole in and you toss your stuff in there. Imagine the impact we'll have on our local footprint. That's how I feel about it. I think each one teach one. I'm a firm believer in it. And I think that's an excellent idea. I might have to go home and dig a hole in my backyard, and my landlady might not be happy with that. But I think it's a genuinely good initiative for everyone to partake. We all have a responsibility here, but we have to also create that message because people don't believe that.
Okay, so I also agree, and I love the idea. I genuinely love business ideas and economic ideas that come from the realm of sustainability, because that is, to me, is the future. Like how we had the Industrial Revolution, I feel like if Jamaica can just hop on to sustainable development right now, we'll be on the first line of countries that would benefit from it, because it is the future. So I love that idea.
All right, just to add to it, I noticed you said if the layman like me and you, if we can hop onto it and basically receive an incentive for like monetary, right? That's what you're asking. So yes and no at the same time. Let me tell you why. So the Red Plus initiative that I spoke to earlier it is reducing emissions through deforestation and forest degradation, right? But in COP17, when they originally put together this initiative, they have a whole lot of what you'd say requirements in order for you to be able to produce on that level and to have that exchange for a monetary thing to have. So basically what they're trying to do is make sure that you're not just in it to get the carbon credits and get the money. You actually care about the environment. And so the different levels that you have to go through, so Jamaica is on the first level of trying to implement that initiative, but it isn't at a place where, you know, you can just go and put some stuff in your backyard and go to the ministry and say, okay, I have 10 trees and they're sequestering this amount of carbon, can I have my money, please?
Yeah, so you would have to build it out, really and truly, because we don't have a robust carbon system in place. So if you, I assume it was a business idea for you to be the company that would do that. Yeah, exactly, and it's kind of like you're grouping all of their contributions under your umbrella organization. Okay.
All right, so the climate line is growing, and so what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask two persons to ask the questions directly to just one person, maybe not all three have to chime in. You can always talk to them afterwards, but two questions, then two more, and then we wrap. Thank you so much, been interesting. Adrian.
Thank you. Short people problems. Okay, so first plug, glad to see Kee Farms, which is a former Unleash Hackathon participant as well. Shameless plug. But to the two young ladies from the foundations, there's a very specific question. For persons like me from Honeybee's Apiary and persons like Madam Pusey, who are from, we're both ecopreneurs, right? How can the Grace Kennedy Foundation and the Accreditation Agency help ecopreneurs like me, like Kee Farms, to build out and possibly fund our ideas to help? Yeah, because you know, money matter, and women, all you know, money matters, money talks. So, as a beekeeper, as a drone pilot seeking to help monitor our forest and capitalize on that, how can your institution help us build out? She's in the sea, I'm on land. Please help me. Help me help nature, please. All about that money?
Hold on, we get the second one, so keep the point.
Okay.
Yeah, don't lose it. Second
okay.
question, same time.
So hi everybody, my name is Alea. I'm the owner of the Eco Store Jamaica. So an eco store deals with sustainable products replacing everyday plastic products, etc., etc. Okay, so I wanted to ask similar question about how to create meaningful partnerships and also how to, one of the issues I faced is securing, I would say, meaningful partnerships financially and securing government assistance as it relates to trying to fund, these are essentially first-gen businesses, you know, most people haven't created business models that are anything like ours. So I wanted to know what that thought process is like, or what you guys usually go through trying to fund that aspect of it. And I also wanted to ask, from a personal standpoint, what you guys think in terms of what's more important, because for products that I bring in or have, most of them have to be imported because a lot of stuff can't be made out here. Do you think it's more important the long-term effects the products will bring, so the long-term positive impact, or do you think the ethics of how everything is brought in and, you know, the environmental impact, which do you think is more important?
Okay, so I'll take the first question. So it was asked, how can our organizations help you to basically scale and get on that international market and move from the place that you are? So at the Jamaica National Agency for Accreditation, what we help you to do is to get yourself aligned with international standards. So it becomes easier for you to export if you're looking to export. So countries like Jamaica, we produce things on a smaller scale, and so it's easy for a larger country to look and say, you know, well, we're not sure if you're up to the standards as, you know, we normally get. And so if you come, so if you come to us, what usually happens is that we help you to get up to standard, and so that when a larger country looks at you, they can say, yes, you're already approved, you're accredited, and you're ready for export, and we can take you on just like that. All right, so that was the first question. Can the young lady repeat her last question? It was which of the two was more important, but I didn't quite get it.
Okay, so I think she's importing sustainable alternatives to everyday products. So she's asking what is more important, the fact that her things are more eco-friendly on the long term, but the carbon footprint or the emissions that are generated from the shipping and all of that, she's basically just asking her opinion to weigh which one is more important. Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say either of the two is more important, actually. So because of the shift in what companies are looking for, and they're looking for the values that you uphold, I would say that each of them is equally as important as the next. But if you're thinking economics and long term, then that's something that you'd probably primarily have to focus on before you can put, your energy and your efforts into the ethics of the solution. So that is my personal opinion.
Okay. So for me, the Grace Kennedy Foundation has 3 mandates, overall mandates: environment, education, and healthy lifestyles. And we do offer grants. So if you are a ecopreneur, you just have to write a proposal. I would also advise you to give you an edge. If you have any stats, data, or MEL learning that you can add to the proposal just to make it look nice. So to say maybe, by my business is helping persons to get jobs, or not even that. Just estimate, save 200 plastic bottles because I am selling them reusable plastic bottles per year. Exactly. So I would say just add that to your proposals to give you an edge, but we do give grant funding for environmental projects. So for instance, I think the last grant we gave was to a foundation that is actually doing urban gardens in downtown Kingston. So they did one at Denham Town. So we do give grants for environmental projects and environmental businesses. We've supported somebody doing an aquaponics setup at Grace Kennedy, one of our factories, as an experiment. So we are open. Environment is one of our mandates. Talking about your question now, I actually just finished wrapping up a workshop where I was introducing, I was trying to spark ecopreneurship amongst youth within the inner city. And through that exercise, I was basically introducing them to different organizations that they could get in touch with. I'm not sure if you've tapped into any of these. Climate Change Innovation Center, DIA. Who else did I invite? JBDC also, even though it might not be focused on ecopreneurship, it is focused on entrepreneurship. They do have a lot of programs that are free that you can tap into just as a business. And the Development Bank of Jamaica has programs for micro businesses moving into small businesses stage. And then Honeybun Foundation also has, if you're a small business, they have resources that you can tap into, and they help connect you to different resources that you can tap into for free. So.
All right, so that's where you can tap into the money. So we know that we need cash to care. All right, so our final 2 questions. Please come to the microphone. Thank you.
Hello, good day, or good afternoon. My name is John D. Henry. I'm a member of the National Youth Parliament of Jamaica. All right, I'm a chemical engineer by profession, so energy is something I'm passionate about. One of the things I would like to know more about, especially as it relates to young people, persons who are just starting life. We are building our homes, buying our cars. You mentioned earlier electric vehicles and the photovoltaic cells or solar, right? How can these things be more accessible to youths, right? How are there initiatives, programs that persons can apply for? Say we get a house, and we can pay the exuberant JPS bill, and we want to, get a little solar panel or a little windmill going for us. Are there initiatives, programs that young people can tap into and benefit from?
Unfortunately, I don't know of any programs, so sorry. I don't know of any programs that you can tap into as a young person trying to probably just put up some panels on your roof, but I do know of commercial clients, if they wish to go the route of, increasing sustainability within their organization, they can apply for basically removing those taxes from importing on a commercial scale. the different devices. But as for just a person trying to put it on their roof, maybe I speak in ignorance, but I'm not aware of that.
Okay, don't quote me on this, but my mother has told me, and she's done the whole NHD thing before. They have a loan specifically for solar. Okay. That's what she said. That was like 2 years ago, though. They still do. See, the cameraman told me, "Thank you, kind sir." It's the truth. So that's an avenue. Our housing initiatives, they do, as much as we don't like them, because we don't like seeing it come out of our checks, they offer that service. Right. Okay? Yeah.
All right, thank you. And our final question.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Adriana Brown, and my question is, how would you advise young entrepreneurs to build not just viable and profitable ventures, but also business ventures that take into consideration the socio-economic costs, the eco-social costs and benefits of having a sustainable business model? Okay, sorry about that. So, how would you advise young entrepreneurs to build not just viable and profitable ventures, but business ventures that take into consideration the eco-social costs and benefits of having a sustainable business model?
And while you think about it and decide who among you is going to answer, do we have a comment from a gentleman here? So I'll give you some time with that one. Thanks, AJ.
Yes, so to the panelists, hosts of the event, audience, good afternoon. Yes, so my name is Joseph. One thing that was mentioned during the discussion was that what other initiatives exist so that youth can be a part of. So I'm currently a part of a regional non-profit organization, which is the HAY campaign, or more formally referred to as the Healthy and Environmentally Friendly Youth campaign, which focuses on climate youth activism. So the page on Instagram is We Are HAY. So what does this entail? You get the chance to travel and debate issues surrounding climate change, environmental awareness, environmental education, through environmental awareness, the protection of the environment, so on. So you'll get to collaborate with various agencies in your home country, because it's not just the Caribbean region. You have ambassadors from the African region, so Central America, South America. So the HAY campaign caters to, climate action. So if you're interested in being a part of the movement, you can come and talk to me at the end of the panel discussion. And, it's a real thing. And in 4 to 5 years to come, the temperature will rise and a lot of problems will be worsened. And when it reaches that stage, we cannot do anything about it. So we need to be more eco-friendly, and we need to find more innovative and feasible means of how we can make a profit while at the same time protecting the earth that we love so much and we want to live in. We don't want to go to Mars.
Thank you.
So follow the HAY Foundation. We're talking about technology and climate action. Easy application of technology. Just hop on your phone and follow them, and you see all the opportunities. All right, panelists.
Okay, so I think your name was Adriana. To Adriana, it comes down to very meticulous planning. That's the truth. We are, as Kee Farms, doing something that's never been done here before. We thought we could just jump in the water and drop the seaweed on some rafts at first and just say, grow. We've learned so many things along the way that would have been unsustainable if we had actually acted on them. So you have to plan. You have to do a lot of copious research. Create your business model before you action it. Do it in an email or something, because somebody might steal your idea. That's something my business teacher taught me. Do it in an email or something. Start writing down what you actually want to achieve with your business, and then start to do the research as to what it requires to action this. Does it need imports of large machinery? What does that mean for sustainability? Does it require a lot more funding than you can find right now? What does that mean for you on the ground? Or does it require you to drive around a lot? What does that mean for your emissions with your gas guzzling vehicle? You understand? It's simple. It sounds very simple. I'm using very simple ideas, but it comes down to meticulous planning. Lots and lots of planning. If we didn't do the research, a lot of what we would have been doing would have actually been increasing the carbon footprint as Kee Farms. Do not action it until you've done the research. A lot of people dive in headway and don't know what they're getting into until it's too late.
Okay, so she actually said a part of what I was about to say. So meticulous planning and just develop your business model canvas. So I don't know if you've ever heard of that document. So normally when you're starting a business, you would flesh out all the different parts of your business. Who are your key partners? You mentioned sustainability, how you can build those partnerships and make sure that whatever you're doing, you're looking at the eco-social impact. So you'd separate that business model canvas in terms of the economic benefits, the social benefits, and the environmental benefits. Look at who are the partners, what are the key activities that will be taking place. As Shauna-Gaye said, you know, you have some small activities that may actually be counterproductive to what it is that you're trying to achieve. And if those outweigh the outcome of what it is that you're trying to get to, then you need to go back to the drawing board.
All right, thank you, ladies. Any final comments? Because I know we have to wrap. No? All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. One final comment here?
No, I was just saying excellent.
Okay, all right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your participation and your attention. Thank you to my lovely panelists. This was a great discussion. And everybody know where to get the money, how to join the group, how to get more information. So I hope you leave this very informed. Have a great evening.